power, politics, and the favor of the gods. Today we're talking about Quorum, an amazing game created by Raul Franco and Fran Martinez and illustrated by the amazing Bea Tormo. In this game, our objective would be to have the more majority of points over the different provinces and shape the fate of Rome. Let's see how it's played. Well, future senators of Rome, this is Quorum. It's the main board. It's the principal item we're going to have on the table. The game is for 2 up to 4 players, and the game will last approximately 30 minutes. So it's pretty easy to learn and also, well, but quite difficult to master, but we'll do our best. So the main thing is to put the main board on here in the center of the table and display the 6 provinces that we're going to play in Quorum, because our objective would be to have the majority of points in the different provinces and scoring at the end, depending on the type of the card and also the province on Rome. So you have Hispania, Asia, Africa, Germania, Gallia, and Macedonia. So these would be the 6 different provinces that we are going to have. So I've displayed the different, the setup for 4 players. So you have the four color token that we have here. You're going to display also and set the different influence tokens on the table by showing the number 2 at the beginning of the game. So we're going to put it like this, because in this game it's important to know that the influence token will go up and down depending on the actions on the different players, because in this game we're going to play by majority. So if you're going to be here and the token shows number 1, let's say, the only player that will score in this province would be the blue player. The other players that are last in the queue will go away, because this token will show like a 0, so no token left. So the only player that will be able to score at the end of the game would be the player, the blue player. So that's maybe the main function on the influence tokens here. The next thing you need to put would be the market. So the market is pretty interesting to set. I'm so ODC, sorry. Okay, so we have the market, and what we're going to do is shuffle all the market deck, that would be this one, okay, and show or display 5 cards of the market cards. Later, we're going to deal to each player 4 cards, okay? And when that is set, we're going to shuffle with the market cards and the god cards that are the fun part on Quorum, that it's the goddess and the gods. You have, for example, Pluto, Jupiter, Venus, volcanoes, Minerva. We have different types of god that will help you throughout all the game, and will trick and tweak the influence tokens in the end of the game for maybe just bother the other rivals on the game. So once this is all set, we're going to shuffle these god cards into the market. Like that. Okay, we are all set to play Quorum. The first thing that we're going to do to set which would be the first player would be to deal each card to each different player. And if you can see, there's a little star here on the corner, up corner here on the right of the card. There's a little star there. This would be the first player to begin playing. So this is just shuffled randomly through the players. So once that being said, on Quorum we'll have 1 main action or 2 main actions in the game. In your turn, you're going to take 1 card off the market. So these river or cards that we have here. And as I mentioned before, you have 4 different types of cards. That would be this one. So military, we have architecture, we have the market, and we have the intrigue cards. It would be this one that it's the yellow card. So this would be the fourth types of card that we have through the game, plus the provinces. And it's important to know how we're going to score the game before you make your strategy for playing the game and with the objective of winning the game. So I'm going to explain how will be the scoring. It's important to know that you cannot have more than 4 cards in your hand through all the game. So the maximum cards that you have to have in your hand, it's 4 cards in total. And the game will finish once we have 12 cards in your game area. So this is important to know. We're going to score the provinces, and let me show you how it would be done. So let me show you, because the rulebook has great illustrations, so that's easier for you to see. Let me put it right here. And we're going to begin scoring, for example, on Africa. In Africa, we have this hint on the scoring part that says how many cards you have in your personal area, that it's 1 of power. So the cards have different items that you need to take in mind during the game. This is the level of power of each card. So every card has it. Or 0, 1, 2, at a 3 maximum. So 3 is the maximum of power that a card can have. And in here you have the little banner that shows in which province you're going to be scoring. Even though this card is, for example, Market 1, but you're going to score in Asia in this case. So imagine that I took a card in my turn. I want to go with the blue ones. I take 1 card, and then immediately I must play a card on my personal area. So here I go. I played a Market 1, 1 of power, and this allows me to score 1 point over Asia. So here I go. Then we deal another card to have 5 cards again on the market. And the provinces says that in Africa you're going to sum in total how many cards do you have in your personal area multiplied by the power of influence on that province. So let's say that in total of the 12 cards that I have 6 cards of level 1, and I'm going to multiply it by the power of influence. But it's important, as I mentioned, that if I'm the first one that I'm here, imagine that the game ended up like this, okay? And we have a number 2 in our token on influence. I'm going to score 6 cards, level 1, 6 cards, multiplied by 2. And this will go down by 1. So now it's showing a number 1. The next player that has the majority on this province will score how many cards they have, and then the card of influence will show a 0, so no card of influence on this province by the end of the game. That means that these 2 players, whether they have scored or not, or they have taken points on here, they will not score. It will be taken out of the competition. So that's about how you're going to score on the different provinces. This is the case of Africa, and it would be the same as Asia. So in this case, it says you're going to score per how many cards that you have on level 2 plus multiplied by all the points of influence as same. Once the token has disappeared, any players that got out on that, they will not score anymore. So that's about that. And the other 4 provinces that we have left on the board will score simply by multiplying the scoring of the influence token per how many cards of that type you have on your personal area. So in this case, for example, in Hispania, we're going to multiply 2 by how many cards I have on the market. So if I have finally, by the end of the game, we have 3 cards, 3 blue cards, I'm going to multiply that by the influence token right here. So the number that shows in there. And you have the same for every province that it's left, so Macedonia and Gallia and Germania. And then there's a second type of scoring in this case. So this game, it's pretty fun because the game, all the scoring and the different points by the end of the game will change rapidly, and it can change at any minute. So let's talk about scoring by the type of card. So this is very interesting. As I mentioned, there's 4 types of cards. So military, trade, architecture, and intrigue. So the yellow, the reddish one, the blue one, and the green one. So the green are the military. So imagine that I do have these 2 cards that they're going to, each one, they will allow me to score in the different province. In this case, I'll put 3 on Hispania, and in this one, I'll go 3 again on Macedonia. And later, and by the end of the game, I need to make pairs or triple cards on here. So it says that if you have a 2 and a 3, so in this case, a 2 and a 3, that would be a pair, and that will give you 5 points. If you have 1, 2, 3, so like a trio, will give you 10 points as per here. But if you manage to make a combination of cards that says 1 and a 3, so the end and the first and the end, it will give you no points at all. So it's important to make or a 1 and a 2, or a 2 and a 3, or 1, 2, 3. To make score at the end of the game with the green cards. That would be the military. And you have here, for example, how many cards you can have and how would be the scoring. You have, by second, we have the trade cards. This is very interesting. For me, are the best cards in the game. I really like it because it's very simple and it's easy to score by the end of the game. In here, it says 2 products of the same kind will give you 2 points. So in this card, for example, by the end of the game, I will have 2 points just for the little sheep right here. And if you make, for example, 3 products of the same type or the same item, it will give you 4 points. And if you have 4 items or more, it will give you 6 points by the end of the game. So you can make as much combinations as you want of the same items on here. And they will give you a lot of points at the end of the game. You have, for example, the architecture that, as you can see, well, in Rome, there's a lot of famous monuments that you should know. And in here, for example, you have the pool, you have the temple, you have the aqueduct. There's a lot of monuments on different architectonical, historical things. And if you collect them all, or as many as you can collect, it will give you points by doubling the points. So 1 equals 1, 2 cards will give you 4 points, 8, 12, 18, and so on. So this is a quite nice way to have a lot of points by the end of the game. And then lastly, we have the intrigue cards that says as many cards as yellow cards are these ones, okay? As many cards as you have in your personal area, you're going to multiply them by all the cards of level 3 that you have on your personal area. So imagine that I have three cards, 3 yellow cards, and I have two cards that have the 3 level power here. So I'm going to multiply that that value, and that will be my score on the yellow cards. Okay, so that would be how you're going to score in this game. So as you can see, first we're going to score all the provinces, later all the types of cards. And knowing that, now you can make your own strategy by placing all the correct cards on your personal area. As we said, you only can put maximum, you can put 12 cards on your personal area. And the fun part of Quorum would be the gods, because they're going to help you or bother you, it depends, throughout the game. So it's very useful, because imagine that I took this card, play one card, etc. And the god cards are these ones that has this part of the game that it's like green. You can flip it over. Well, actually, you keep it hidden. You keep it hidden until one player wants to play this kind of card. So you reveal the card and show the goddess Minerva. So Minerva will help you by upping you in one of the province. For example, this is the neutral banner that we have. So imagine that, so let's say I'm going to play Minerva in my turn, and I'm going to put it right here. That means that I'm going to score 1 in this province by the neutral banner that allows me to score at any province that I want. And it's a special power that would be this one, that's pretty interesting. It's going to up your influence tokens on the game. So for example, Minerva will allow me to make +1 and +1 on the adjacent provinces. So let's say 2 and 2. Now I'm going to make the stakes higher by showing the number 3. That means that if you're scoring and in this track you're getting ahead and everything, by the end of the game, the yellow player will not score at all if you have a 3 here. But the other players will do score, because we have 1. Well, then we'll show number 2, 2, 1. And there's none. So the yellow player will have no scoring at the end of the game. So that's how the gods will help you upgrade your influence tokens to, at the end of the game, to score more points at the end of the game. And lastly but not least, you're going to keep your god cards on your hand. So remember that I've told you that you only can have 4 cards in total in your hand. So the thing with the gods is that as you have to keep them on your hand, it limits your capacity of having cards on your hand and making more strategy as you go. So you'll have to play with more with the cards on the market than the cards on your hand. But imagine that maybe a player takes the card that you needed to score because you don't have enough space to keep them on your hand. That's a little bit tricky. But another thing that you have to do when you have, at some point over the game, if you have 3 cards of God in here, let's say you have like this, the player that it's their turn, they're going to be able to shuffle all the cards again without showing what god it's underneath it. So if there's three gods, at least three gods in the market, you can just take them and shuffle again and deal 5 new cards. So that, for example, it's a way to renew the market without any consequences, let's say. So that being said, this is Quorum. I have explained everything. Remember that you have all the explanations and the little tweaks and everything of the scoring throughout the game in this little card right here. I hope you like it. And tell me in the comments below what god is your favorite on Quorum, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and bye-bye.